Hi everybody, this is Kristen Marks with My Pink Lawyer, and I have the privilege of having with me today Rodney and Cindy Daniels, and they were nice enough to come in and share with me a little bit about their daughter Tiffany, who unfortunately you may have heard on the news went missing in the Pensacola Beach area, we're not sure exactly, back in 2013. And Tiffany, was she 25 at the time? So a young adult. And really we met each other through a mutual friend of ours. When I started sending out the emails about the importance about your young adults having powers of attorney, your college age kids going off, and how important it is to have medical and financial powers of attorney. And that's how this mutual friend of ours connected us, saying that I should talk to you guys because of your story and how you wish that Tiffany, you had had her power of attorney to help out in preserving her assets and maybe even in getting her phone records to investigate. So if you don't mind, just share with me what has happened to, for example, Tiffany's assets in these 4 years since she has been missing. She had you had mentioned
she had an IRA account, she had a teacher's retirement account, and then a bank account. And all of those, because she was on those accounts alone, without any co-signers or anything on it, all of those accounts, they were not frozen because they wanted to leave them open in case there was any activity on them and someone might be trying to get her money. So they let them open, but in that resulted in the service charges. Once they continued to go through after no activity, it took all of her money. It just went down to zero. Actually, it put one of them in the minus, but they don't do anything about that. It just shows
that's nice of them.
a few minus cents there, so that doesn't do anything, but unfortunately, and with her car too being in her name, we can get her car back, but we cannot license it, we cannot sell it, we cannot even tag it, we can't do anything with it.
So it's just
what we can do is our options with her car are we can go and try to petition a judge to get the car, at which time he would have to decide. It would be like a small claims court, and if we lose, then we will be paying all the court costs. And if we take it to car auction with the police department, which is what happens when cases are closed or they have these vehicles left over, they take them to auction, and they've told us we can go to auction and bid on it, but there's no guarantee we'll get it.
Right.
I don't want to have to beat someone up at the auction that would try to outbid me on my daughter's car that I've already bought once. So we decided that was definitely not the option, unless I went around and told everybody, do not bid, do not bid, do not bid,
right.
And that would kind of be a fixed auction.
Yeah,
so I don't want to go in trouble for that either.
Oh my gosh.
And we had no idea that this was a total surprise, and something that we feel like every parent needs to know, that there's a gray area on these kids when they're going off on their own and they want to be on their own and they don't want us in our life, and we don't want to be on their shoulder all the time, but they have to have protection because she has now lost everything that she had worked hard in those few years to get built up. And we had to sit there and watch it happen. We couldn't stop it.
And one of the other issues that we ran into as well was her phone records. Again, the phone was in her name. We could not readily access the phone records. The police department had to go through a subpoena. So, and again, with it being a burn phone, by the time the subpoenas ran through all of the companies that had a piece of that phone, it was over 90 days before the police could get her phone records to try to find out her last activity.
Yeah, 90 days is a lot of time.
Long time.
It was 6 months before they got all of it because there were like 5 companies on that one phone.
As opposed to if you had had her power of attorney, you could have reached out to the companies
immediately and not have to go through the police.
You wouldn't have had to wait for a subpoena.
That's correct.
We would have had access to everything right then. We could have seen the activity, and who knows? We'll never know if that was the chance that we would have had to know where she was last.
And the same for her internet account as well.
The internet too.
Wow. And
which is really important in these things too.
Absolutely.
Those are 2 things for tracking devices, and it's bad.
So you, as part of our earlier conversation, had pointed out that you had worked closely with class kids
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about Class Kids? Because I learned a lot. I didn't realize that they're right here in Pensacola.
They are. Class Kids is a great organization. It's a national search organization, no matter the age of the missing person, a child or adult. And their national search president is right here. They have an extensive team of experts with dogs and other people and other assets to help find the missing person. But the key is they have to be called. So reach out to them. It's free of charge. Free of charge for this service.
And you don't have to wait till they've been missing for a certain period of time.
No.
The minute you feel like your child is missing or your loved one is missing, this can be your first phone call.
Right. They don't have to be online.
No, any age.
Wrong about the police not getting a phone call. We're not saying that. We're just saying that both of those phone calls need to be made. But we know that Class Kids, they can act very fast.
And so we'll put the phone number and the website address at the bottom of this video so you can learn more about them. And they're a nonprofit.
Absolutely nonprofit.
So, I mean, they could always use all the funds that they can get.
Right,
and volunteers, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Always wanting volunteers. Mark Class started this after his daughter was kidnapped and later found murdered because he said he didn't want families to go through what he went through, which was absolutely no help. They, had they not had the evidence they had about her being taken out of the window and knowing that, he's not sure how that would have played out. So he said he did not want families to have to go through that. So it's a wonderful organization.
So he's still involved in California, you said?
He's on the West Coast.
And then
Brad Dennis is on the East Coast. Too.
Okay, that's great.
And just so you know as well, we didn't mention this earlier, 2,000 people are reported missing every day.
Over
Fortunately, a lot of them show up or whatever it may be, but that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And also, unfortunately, Florida every year goes back and forth between being number 2 and number 3 in the country for human trafficking cases.
Which is something we do not hear about.
Mm-mm.
It's alive and well. It's in our backyard.
And so they're targeting boys and girls,
yes,
teenagers,
adults,
kids, and young adults.
Any vulnerable person, they think, and that's what they do. And we highly recommend you do the classes through Class Kids about the internet safety. On Thursday nights at the Media Solutions down on Gregory Street, Julie and her husband are doing classes to educate parents about the different apps on their phones and for the kids, and we have learned so much.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
scary.
it is scary, but it is so important. You need to be nosy. You need to know what's on your kid's phone. Take your kid's phone, check it once a week. Tell them you trust them. You don't trust the bad people.
Right. Right.
Tell them it has nothing to do with the trust issue with them. It's the bad people that
And you're paying for it.
That's right. It's
my phone.
That's true.
Exactly.
You can pull that card out, the parent card.
Yeah.
But I think they're more receptive when you're
What you're at. Well, and you mentioned earlier too, speaking of cell phones, that of course Tiffany had a burner phone, which you go to Walmart and you just pay as you go. But you had wished that she had stated that you had kept her on your plan.
Yes, because the burn phones, there can be so many companies involved, and each one of those companies have to be subpoenaed. And they all have a different policy about the critical need of that subpoena and how long it takes to get it. They don't have to respond to a subpoena for 30 days, which is a long time.
Right.
So if you've got 5 burn phones,
5 companies.
Right,
5 companies.
exactly. Yes.
do the math.
Right. So I know as a parent trying to teach my daughter and son, who will be an adult not too long from now, financial responsibility. And you maybe need to start taking over some of this stuff. Maybe the phone is not the place to start with that. I should keep paying for a phone and keep it on my plan.
We recommend it
Yeah.
mainly because of this issue. If there is a way to do it without doing it, I don't know if there is or not. But it's those devices are your connection. We get mad and we say no devices, put them down. We're going to do real family time. But in all actuality, those devices are the first thing you want to go to when something like this happens because that is your link to them.
Right.
So we complain about these devices, but they can also find your kid.
Right.
So I highly recommend you be on any account
Yeah.
that has a tracking device on it like that. Because first of all, you need to know, if they got it on their phone, it needs to be on your phone, and you need to know where they are and what's going on.
And there are apps.
Yes,
This is beyond the scope of what we talked about earlier, but there are apps, and so my kids the whole family is on Life 360, free app on everybody's phone, so I can go and see where anybody is. Oh, where's my husband? Oh, he stopped off here again.
I love that.
Yeah.
I forgot.
It's free.
He's not supposed to know.
Well, he was complaining to me. He goes, "How come you're not on Life 360? Did you turn it off?" I said, "No, honey. This, you have like my wrong profile here." So I loaded it back on. But you can see history of where people have been and where they are at any given moment, if the phone is on, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And it's connected.
There's
to
always a possibility of something not being right in that, but in a normal situation, we would hope that we would still be able to use that device to find something.
And Find My Friends, which is a native, I'm learning a lot since my daughter's gone off, iPhone app, is fine, except it only tells you where they are at that given moment. It does not give you history. Now, I guess you could, if they're on your phone, you could, using a power of attorney, try to get the records yourself, but that's going to take time.
Right.
As opposed to Life 360. And I told my daughter when she went off to college, look, I'm not being nosy. I promise you, I'm not just going to be seeing where you are and what time you came into the dorm and all that. But if something happened to you, I want to know
Exactly.
what your history was leading up to that, or if you're driving home for 5 hours,
Exactly.
I want to be able to check it. Oh my gosh, she's been stopped here for a while. I hope she didn't break down.
Exactly.
Type of thing.
Yes.
So
It's hard to tell them that we
it
don't
is
want
hard.
to be nosy.
It is
And
hard.
they don't understand that, but if they don't, then come talk to us, because we can tell them that we might have been able to, who knows, we could have maybe found Tiffany if we had all these things in check. We might have known a lot more. We know nothing.
Right.
We know on none of those answers that would have been given to us had we been on all of those things, had we known that we needed to be on all those things. So it really, trust me, it's important.
Okay. Well, I would love to have you back another time.
Anytime.
And maybe come and speak to parents. Maybe bring class kids and
Yes,
have
I'm
a
learning.
presentation and maybe raise some funds and more awareness. And just help parents in our community about the importance
That would be
of.
great.
They do not want to join our club at all.
Yeah, our club, we belong to the largest club in the world. That's the Club of the Missing. And you cannot buy your way into this club. So it's so exclusive, you can't even buy a membership into it. So you don't want to be part of our club, trust me.
Well, we want to support you for sure.
That's what we
Everything
need,
can.
and we need the community, we need our community to be safe. And as we're learning with this process, that is our goal, is to educate other parents and the community, because there's so many little things out there you don't know about. And how can you do it if you don't know about it?
Right.
And we're all, the society, will wait till it happens to us to jump on board.
Right.
We are such a bad society at that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't wait till it hits home to do something about it.
Right.
And so that's what we're trying to tell parents, don't wait till it hits home. If you'll do it now, maybe it will never hit home for you.
Right. Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.